Good morning, guys. Most of you have received a box like this via UPS. This is the SUV conversion kit, and I think it's referred to as ODV Kit 10 for future reference if you need it. So I just received mine from UPS, by the way, as well. So what I just want to do is show you what's inside. We'll start from square. We'll just open it up. Looks like a lot. We're just going to quickly unpack it and show you kind of what is inside. Get your white Speechwriter pads. This is WPP. Your information placard. You're going to have your toilet brush holster. This is what we call the sombrero, little drip tray that's going to go on one of the horns for the hose. Of course, we've got our squeegee head. The back one to go with it. We have a dustpan and broom kit. Very easy to obviously put together. We'll just do that real quick while we're taking it out. We have our hose. We have our shorty bag, our supply shelf. And of course, this is our Ergo Speechwriter mop. We have a wet floor sign. We have a drip tray. We have an anti-tip weight. With the shorty bag on the handlebar, we need to be able to prevent the weight from things being put in the shorty bar and causing it to tip over. With the weight, you'll want to identify this little baggie with the bolt and washer. And then there's some other screws and accessories here that are going to go with your horns. These particular 4 screws, you want to identify these. This will actually go with your drip tray, and we'll talk about that when we get to it here in a moment. These screw kits, you want to just set those aside. These will go with the horns. I'll leave them together for right now. And then here is a screw for, I believe it's the sombrero, where we put it on the horn and we secure the sombrero to the corner horn. So you'll just want to make sure to put those two together. All right, that's our kit. Now with that in mind, we'll just pause for a moment and set up for installing the first major piece that we want to take care of. We're looking at the AutoVac stretch here. Most of you guys might have an AutoVac, so the only main difference between what you have is the fact that this handle's here, and you might have a different battery system, but that's really not going to impact what we're going to do to configure this machine. So with that in mind, I just want to show you how to install the shorty bag, little supply shelf that we mount to the handlebar. And the way that we're going to do that is, first, we'll have to remove the cotter pin down here from the valve in order to release the extension bar. So first step on installing the supply shelf is to remove the cotter pin like so, and then what we'll do is we'll slide the extension bar up, and we don't have to remove it completely, we can just allow it to hang like that for the moment. And then what we're going to do is we're going to grab our shorty bag, and you're going to identify the 2 strap hooks here on the back, what we are going to call the back corner. We're going to set it in place inside the handlebar section here. We're going to hang these 2 straps from each corner first. Then we have these Velcro straps across the front, which we will unvelcro and then re-velcro in place around the handlebar. so that it secures the shorty bag here in place. So this battery is affecting the ability for it to hang, so you might just need to force it a little bit down into the cavity where it's supposed to be open. Now, when you're talking with your customer, of course, you're gonna just talk them through the features. You've got spray bottle bags on either side. You have a pouch on the front for nitrile gloves, so you just slide your box in here, and then there's a little opening where you can pull out the gloves one by one. With that being said, just want to show you down inside the box, inside the shelf tray here, you have this opening. We're going to reinsert and slide the extension rod back through the hole, bring it back through the opening on the trolley, and then secure it back in place. And you'll just want to make sure that the handle is back in the same position that it was, so that it's in the proper open close position. Then we'll of course just reinsert the cotter pin and your shorty bag is in place. All right guys, we're going to focus on the second major component. This is going to require a little bit of coordination, but remember our little baggie? We've got the bolt and the washer in here, so we'll remove those. And we're going to identify and locate this little mounting slot on the front of the trolley. Now this weight is important because again, it provides an anti-tip protection, because we just installed the shorty bag. People are going to load it down with touch point cleaning supplies and other types of things, and it's going to create a back heavy situation. So we want to counter it with this weight. The way that we'll do that is we'll just drop it down to the hole in place, and the washer will go in. First. And then that's probably the best thing to do is drop your washer in first, make sure it's over the opening, and then you're just going to want to try to position this bolt. It's not the easiest thing to do because it's a deep hole, but you're just going to have to try to hit it's kind of like at the carnival, putting the rings on top of those little bottles. So drop it through. Now you can see that the bolt is pushing through here. Put your finger on the top of it, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold the bolt with my finger in place so that it stays somewhat stationary, and then I'll start to just twist this onto the threads. If you have a hex wrench or something like that, it makes it easy, but you can just get it, grip it. Now it's tight, and hand cranking it should be fine. Now your anti-tip weight is in place. All right guys, your kit will also come with 2 holster bags. So they're tucked inside of each other. These are going to be mounted onto the sides or the front corners of your handle as well. So just find a place that you feel comfortable strapping them onto the handlebar. This one, you can put your Starbucks in if you want. This one is specifically intended to be a place for holding the toilet brush. This gives you the ability to do toilet bowl cleaning, gives you a waterproof storage container to be able to put that in without dripping toilet water all over the place. So those 2 holsters just go on the handlebar like so, and you can position them however you want for the customer's benefit. All right guys, we're going to show you how to mount the horns onto the vacuum tank. Before we get started, you're going to want to get a Phillips head screwdriver and a 5/16 hex head Allen wrench. Set those there for a moment. So coming back to our horns, we've got 2 different kinds of horns. 3 of them will be the same, and they're going to mount at each corner of your vacuum tank. This particular horn is the horn that we'll use for the intake port on the vacuum tank here. So that horn goes right here on this corner next to your intake port, and that's what's unique about it. You will have, of course, your baggie of screws. So with each horn, you're going to want to identify the screw kit. So you're going to need one of those inserts. With it is going to go your fine threaded screw and a washer. And then for the supporting corners of your horns, you're going to need two screws that have a little bit less, they're rough coarse threads. So each horn will need for you to separate out these different screws so that you can mount your horn successfully. All right? So with that being said, we'll come up here to the corner. We're going to find the two corner bosses and the center pivot hole, and we'll just slide that in place. Accordingly, just drop it down in place just to make sure you got the proper fit. And then to begin, I'm going to grab this threaded insert and my hex head Allen wrench, and I'm going to insert this into this hole by screwing it down like so. And it's self-tapping, so once you get it started, just finish it off. Don't over torque it, just make it secure. Now from there, we can, like I said, we'll drop our horn back in place now that that's there. We'll get our fine threaded screw with the washer, and we'll drop it back into that hole just above the insert that we just put in place, and then we'll, of course, screw it down. Your coarse threaded screws are going to go into the bosses on either side, and again, you just slide those down in place. These also, of course, are self-tapping because of the coarse thread. And quick and easy. We'll just repeat this process for this corner and then for the back two corners. And all four of your horns should be mounted. Each horn has a little bit of a different boss setup to be able to hook up. So here, this horn mounts on the central pivot point with this large boss with the two corner ones. On the front, of course, you have options here to put it more towards the side, like that, or like this. We choose to put it here on this corner. So again, as you go to each of the corners, there's a little bit of a different boss system, so you just want to be prepared for that. In order to mount, depending upon your battery setup, in order to mount this back corner, we may end up having to remove the battery. So that's a little bit more complicated. We won't go into that for right now. So we're just going to finish mounting these two horns so that you can at least see them in place as well. So guys, this fourth corner horn is possible to be mounted without having to do anything with the battery pack. So just pivot it, just rest it down into that little corner boss here, and then twist it. A little bit of a turn there, and it pops right into place. So before you do that, of course, make sure you mount and insert your screw bracket into that big boss, and then, like I said, come in and then just twist it in place, and you should be able to screw it down. All right, guys, so now that we've got our four horns in place, we're going to put our little sombrero onto our front corner horn near the intake port. And this is going to be used as a drip tray basically for our hose, and we'll show you how the hose gets mounted here in a moment as well. But you just slide it onto the tip of the horn. You see there's a little eye hole for the screw that goes with it, and it is also a self-tapping screw. So remember that little baggie that came with it. Of course, you just slide it in place, a little bit of pressure, got it mounted. All right, guys. Again, we've got our Phillips head screwdriver. We've got our packet with the 4 screws. And of course, this is going to be our drip tray that's going to mount on the side of the trolley, which is going to be the place where we rest the microfiber pad holder and the wand. So we'll show you that in a moment. This particular AutoVac already has the drip tray mounted onto it, so I won't go into the details of showing you how to mount it, of course, but you're going to want to identify some key spots on the drip tray, which is where you're going to focus on mounting the screws. You're going to see little horseshoe-shaped openings along the drip tray where you're going to want to position your screws. So as you can see, there's a nice little curve here, and it wraps around the wheel bracket. So you can see the wheel, the round wheel post there coming off the bottom of the trolley. That same little stub is poking out the bottom on this side as well, which of course you can't see. But what we're going to do is we're going to hook that stub right here with the tray, pop it in place, and it's going to rest flush up against the trolley just like you see here. Now, once it's in place, you're going to want to identify these little horseshoe-shaped openings. So here is a screw hole for the inside corner. I think if you might be able to show it visually. So there's the screw hole there. Screws right into the side of the wheel post. And then on this side, of course, we have this horseshoe here, and of course the screw is there. And then we've got 2 additional little horseshoe screw eyelets here where we'll secure it on the back as well. So get yourself a little Phillips head screwdriver and have fun mounting that drip tray on the side of your trolley. So guys, most of you are converting an AutoVac into an SUV. So part of that conversion is removing the existing vac hose from your machine, obviously, and just simply removing it. And then we'll grab your new vacuum hose, connect the one end, of course, to the port. And then what we'll do is we'll just wrap it like a garden hose across the front of the machine on the horns. And wondered why the sombrero is there. That is where we will mount the wand end of your hose. If there's any liquid that's still in the hose, it'll drip here instead of onto the floor. So, of course, your conversion kit comes with a 1-piece wand and a squeegee head. So as you know, you simply loosen the coupling on the tip of the vacuum head, screw it down in place. The vacuum mounts here onto the tray with the post in the circular hole at the bottom, and then you just strap the loop and hang it over the horn. Personally, I like a little bit of a tighter fit. So for me, I take the horn off, the clip off, and if you look onto the horn, you'll see these little plastic slots are in place, and this horn, and that slides right into place. And I like it that way just because it holds the unit a little bit more tighter and compact. It's personal preference, whichever you guys choose is up to you. Another tool that comes with your SUV kit is going to be your Ergo Speechwriter. What we're going to do is we're going to take apart the connector coupling on the pad holder. First thing we'll do is we'll slide this over. I'll let it drop and use my hand as a catch. So I got the coupling on the bar. We'll slide this over. Before I tighten it down, I'm going to locate one of the locking holes on my bar. So there, I'm going to line it up, and I'm going to take my securing pin and lock that in place, and then I'll tighten my coupling down onto the pad holder. Now I've got my pad holder in place. I can extend it to whatever height that I want. I like to do this, and again, this little plastic clip slides right into the slot on the horn. If you don't have a horn, if you don't have that hook, you can always just use the strap and hook it from any location. Again, I like the unit to be tight and compact rather than having stuff flopping around. So I like to hook that little clip into the slot on the horn. And now this side of your machine is configured. We've got some final tools here that come with it as well. Of course, you have your SpeechWriter pads. You can remove the plastic, tamp it down onto the pad holder, and the pad will Velcro onto the pad holder. You can keep the spares for now right here. And then your only two other tools of consequence now that we've mounted everything else are your wet floor sign, which has this little metal hook, and you can honestly hook it anywhere that's convenient for you. But you can hook it right there in one of the bosses. You can hang it from the side and hook it around the thread to itself. But whatever's convenient for you, just mount it onto the side of the unit so that it's easily accessible. And then of course the final tool is our dustpans. We've got a rubber squeegee side to be able to squeegee liquids, and then a brush to be able to do debris. All I'll do is just slide that into place inside the pan. We'll clip it together on that little bracket, and then again we'll hang it right here from the slot on the corner of this horn. So folks, this now has become the OmniFlex SUV. It's a full service cart. Gives you the capabilities to clean just about anywhere and anything. And we are stopping the mop with this thing, replacing that bucket of dirty mop water and empowering your customers to do multi-purpose cleaning anywhere in the building. SUV.